Hello and welcome back to FVC Season 6. It is round 6 of the season at the Austrian Grand Prix, and it has been a while since I've done any commentary. 5 weeks I've been away, but circumstances have changed once again for me. I will be back commentating for a couple of rounds for the foreseeable future. Standard FVC format is still in effect. 18 minutes of qualifying for a 15-minute race. We see a number of cars getting ready to come out, including the Aston Martins as well as the Mercedes, which had stopped in the pit lane for some reason unbeknownst to me. Both the Mercedes, the McLaren of Alexi, as well as a Aston Martin are on the way out of SAS. Conditions look cloudy and a bit foggy. There might be a chance of rain incoming as well. I'm unsure whether or not that is confirmed. However, a number of drivers have come absent from the start of the season, either from leaving or to other outstanding circumstances, but there is going to be no more Bayless and no more Amber for the rest of the season. Austria is quite a unique track in and of itself. It is a shorter layout and a very high speed one at that. Tires are going to be very big here if you have a lower wear set. Mercedes coming up behind SAS now. Hopefully they don't fall over each other coming onto the last. We will jump on board with SAS heading around the final corner to start the flying lap. The Mercedes does overtake. Instead we will go and jump over to D765. Psycho joining in the session for a 16th driver. Heading up to turn 1, DRS wide open for slamming on the brakes. Fast right-hander. Nicely up to the outside curve. Don't want to run too wide. You will lose a lot of time. A second DRS zone all the way up to what is considered as turn 3 on the track, breaking 100-meter board, avoiding the lockup. And again, you don't want to run too wide where you risk invalidating your lap and losing a lot of time. Good exit speed through turn 3. Another DRS straight between 3 and 4. Middle sector 4, D765 cars behind not taking it away. Surprisingly, he said he was the first car through it, but the cars behind aren't going any faster. In through the last corner, once again, another vital zone to keep on the track limits. There's a yellow for a caution in sector 2 for an Alpine off the road, a 104.607 to set the pace. Dorado behind, his teammate a 106.514. Alexi into second place, replacing Dorado with a 105.480 for her. SAS a 109.8.083 enter into last place. Into second now, replacing Alexi. And the second car in the 104s is going to be Blah and Finnell in the Williams. Very close behind as well. The yellow flag in sector 2 for a Ferrari off the track of Scarly 42. Special livery for the Ferrari as well, collecting its changes in the Vegas Grand Prix in real life. New fastest lap, a 104.491 for Apex, who replaces Broughton, who did a 104.503. Very close up at the top of the table, but the previous pole positions at this track have been none of the current top 4. 2023 Summer Series was set by Amber Scarly 42 all the way back in Season 5. Heads into 9th place provisionally after that off-track excursion, unsurprising there. A 119.989. She will definitely be going again as Houseman up into pole position provisionally, 104.171. Also setting the pole all the way back in Season 4, as you can see on the graphic. In 2022 Summer Series was set by Jim Bobster 08. Red Bull's dominating the top of the timesheets, 1 and 2 provisionally. Let's see if they can stay there as the track does ramp up through the session. Weather conditions might also be changing. However, I haven't received any confirmation from anyone about that currently. Two drivers yet to set a lap, one of which is out on track and setting a purple first sector. We'll jump on board with Harris and M for the rest of the lap, looking towards turn 4. Nice braking. A little bit of it locking up, it sounded like, on one of the tyres. However, it didn't seem to affect him too much. There is caution flags up ahead for a slow moving AlphaTauri. Aston Martin was off the road as well, just a little bit. Coming through sector 2, didn't set a purple middle sector. Ferrari possibly being a bit more attuned to straight line speed, as we've seen with the first sector. It is only really one corner there to worry about. Good speed through the second to last corner, coming around the final corner, runs out just the perfect amount. Cross line, only 8th place for the Ferrari, a 1:05.120. That will leave the AlphaTauri of Psycho to set a lap. That's another purple first sector for the Ferrari driver, navigating around the off-track McLaren of Alexei. Still a caution for that Red Bull, possibly slow moving due to a broken wing. The other Ferrari has also spun around just ahead of Harris and M, who I think might be going for a double push potentially, but that battery charge is very low if he is. Avoids the pit entry lines. So indeed was going for a double fast lap, but doesn't validate it, coming around the second to last corner. Instead, we'll jump over to the McLaren of Alexei. One driver ends a lap, the next one's going to be starting it, jumping on board. Braking 100-meter board into turn 1, gets it turned in very nicely. Starting up the hill, turn 2, barely even noticeable for these cars, braking once again at the 100 meters. A little bit hesitant on the throttle coming out of turn 3. Essentially a little bit off the inside line as well, heading through turn number 4, off track for an Aston Martin behind. That's not going to be affecting Alexei on her lap. Purple middle sector for the McLaren driver. Setup, seeing a little more downforce potentially than the rest of the other cars, as is needed through the middle sector. It could also help a decent amount through these last 2 corners. They are very high speed, and the more downforce you have, the better you'll be able to take them nicely through both the final 2 corners, almost running off the track. Moves up into 6th place, provisionally a 1:04.803. Times are very close everywhere except up at the top of the field, basically. There's still another 9.5 minutes to go. Anything could happen so far. Alpine off the road behind shouldn't be causing any issue for any driver. Only one of the Williams was going by. Let's jump on board for a full lap this time with the current 8th place driver of La. 9 cars currently sitting within a second of pole position. Yellow's in sector 2 and 3 for a spun round. Williams, I believe that dot is taking a while to get going. Purple first sector for the Haas of Blyatha. Getting a nice slipstream down the straight from the Aston Martin ahead, but nearly causing a bit of a collision there as both cars look to go for the same piece of track. Thankfully, neither of them come together. Yellow flags up ahead for a spun round Ferrari. Blah, will have to be careful, but he does run wide and does invalidate the lap, so it will not be a improvement of any this time by. and immediately dives into pit lane, possibly for new tires or to quickly charge up the battery. Sorry, off pass and then going to go for another lap. Teammate of Scarly42 is just behind, beginning a little bit of a tow down this straight as well. If both the Ferraris have went higher speed in their setup direction, this could be a very, very useful part in order to gain some positions up the grid. A little bit hesitant on the throttle and possibly a bit of wheel spin coming out of turn 3 for Harris, and then DRS zone immediately after will lessen some of the pain of that coming out of turn 4. Harsh on the throttle, but car does grip up on him. Then through 6 and 7 does be a little bit off the apex, a little bit of a twitch through the middle of the corner is not going to help his lap time any. Keeps it on the track through the final 2 corners. A 105.120 to beat coming up to the line. Not any improvement, stays in 9th place. Number of cars have to navigate around the pass coming out of the pit lane. The Aston Martin keeping itself off the road. Another purple first sector for Harrison, but his battery charge is very low. You can see on the onboard from the wheel. It'll be a tall order to get any faster than his current time without any battery charge. Just under 6 minutes remaining for qualifying. 104.171 from Houseman is the provisional pole position time. 104.359, the other Red Bull of Apex in second. But not too far back is Broughton and D7 in the Williams and the Mercedes. 104.5s for both of them coming over the line. A little bit of an improvement surprisingly for House and them, but not enough to get him up any position. Stays in 9th place provisionally. As behind of Playap will be going for another lap, jumping on board. He's a much better battery charge situation, and the ever so slight bit of a tow coming up through the first sector doesn't improve the time to the first sector any. Possibly upshifting a little early on the exit of turn 3, but it's better to grip up and lose a small bit of time than risk spinning out the car. Fully over the line zone, the turn in for turn 4 is going to be invalidating another lap at the Haas driver. Going around just behind, a big bout of throttle, nearly losing the car as a retirement for Pixels just after turn 3. Thankfully no one will come to any bother from that. That should get cleared away, but the McLaren gets up there. Another big oversteer there for Scarlet, nearly dropping the car, doesn't validate the lap time, and does position to head into pit lane. You need to be careful with the pit entry here. Don't want to do that in the race, as Scarlet shows running over the white lines, hitting the grass. Thankfully the car does get reset. Seen a couple of times this season that a car going over the white lines on pit entry has resulted in penalties, and at this track it is going to be a hard one. The racing line is directly going over pit entry, and if you approach that corner too quickly, you will overshoot. Purple middle sector for the Mercedes of D765. Has just under 0.4 of a second if he wants to take original pole position. He could be on for a good lap if he can get these last 2 corners correctly. Rides a little bit much curve, does get thrown off a little bit on the second to last corner. Coming around the final turn, gets it done nicely. DRS going to be wide open up to line. A new provisional pole position, a 104.163. Milliseconds in it at the top of the table. 3 minutes remaining. I would be very surprised if we don't see the Red Bulls coming out to try and respond to that. And indeed, confirmation in the driver's channel from Houseman that he isn't going to try and take it. Lots of cars going to be coming out of pit lane, leading this big train. Now, purple middle sector for FD Alexi in the McLaren. Alexi being a very quick driver so far this season, has been unlucky on a number of occasions though in the race. We're at the final corner, very aggressive in the turn in for the final corner on the apex. Goes up to 5th place, a 104.732. However, she's going to have to be careful to not impede any of the cars behind, the first of which is going to be the Alpine of OJ English. We'll be getting a bit of a tow up the straight. Turn of Alexi getting out of the way very nicely. However, that could have put off OJ just a little bit. Only 1.5 minutes left. Only 3 cars have stayed in pit lane. Make that 2 cars now as Psycho's coming out. Of course, you can leave coming out very late here due to the short nature of the track. Staying on board with OJ, it's not been a great lap for the Alpine driver. Setup direction, possibly just not the correct way. Right in the final corner, it's a 105 for him to beat. Over the line, does go quicker into 10th place, displacing his teammate, a 105.242. Up next is going to be an Aston Martin of SAS, improves to a 108 but does not go up any positions. The Haas of Blah is going to be up next to start a lap, and finishing a lap behind is going to be Harrison M, a 104.403 for him. Red Bull of Apex also going around. Houseman starts the lap. The McLaren of Alexi heading into pit lane. Next up is going to be the Williams of Finnell starting a lap. I'm not sure. Dorado moves up to 10th place, a 105.128. The Alpine of Sam Baker is going to be starting a lap. Next up then is going to be Broughton over the line. Yellow flags for a Ferrari in turn 3. Starting a lap as well for Broughton, 104.503 for him to beat. Behind is going to be an AlphaTauri starting a lap as well. As the Red Bull of Apex crashes at the final corner, trying to go faster. That's not going to be helpful for him. There is a Aston Martin up next of SAS, who's already set a lap. Then it's going to go to Blah in the Haas. It's the purple middle sector for the Haas driver. It's again going a little bit quicker. Final laps now for all the drivers. This is do or die. 104.929 for him to beat. He's managed to keep it clean throughout the final few corners. Going to get a little bit of a tow up to the line. Goes 6th place, a 104.512. AlphaTauri up next of Psycho goes into 12th, and the Red Bull of Houseman fails to go up. Harrison M's going to be the next car, but looks to have ran out of fuel coming up to the line. Scarlet 42 also in the Ferrari, going to be off into the grass. Hitting off the wall, finishes up. Other Mercedes of Eldorado also completes the lap. Broughton, a 104.119, goes takes pole position for Williams. Finnell dives into pit lane, and Curly 7 goes 9th place, a 104.799. That is qualifying over. Very hectic at the end, but 3 very, very close drivers, milliseconds apart at the top of the timing sheets. Ferrari takes 5th, Blah in 6th, Alexi 7th, Scarlet 42 in 8th, Curly in 9th, and Finnell in 10th. 11th place goes to Eldorado, 12th to OJ English, 13th to Psycho, 14th to Sam Baker, 15th goes for Pixels, and 16th heads to Saskia Mall. Don't go anywhere, we're going to be back for the main race very, very soon. I've accidentally turned on the previous pole position graphic. Welcome back to Season 6 of the FVC. A very hectic qualifying there for round 6 of the season at Austria, and we have our grid set for the race. JL Broughton takes pole position and has also disconnected from the session. Hopefully he can get back in the 1.5 minutes that it takes to finish up this lap. Second place goes to D765 in the Mercedes, only 44 milliseconds back, and only 52 milliseconds back from Broughton is Houseman 212E. Second row of the grid is completely locked out as the second Red Bull of Apex takes 4th place, but just behind in the Ferrari is going to be Harrison M. 6th place heads to Blaya 169, and Effie Alexi, the sole McLaren this week, takes 7th place. Charlie 42, the second Ferrari, is down in 8th. Her one valid fast lap apparently had 20 laps of fuel. Could have went better for her, but then again, it could have went a lot worse. Curly 7 takes 9th place ahead of IX Fennell, the second Williams, in 10th. A little bit further down the field from his teammate, Dorado takes 11th place for Mercedes duo. And then beginning the Alpines, 12th place goes to OJ English. Psycho will take 13th and Sam Baker in 14th. And the back row of the grid is locked out as we see Pixel spinning around the corner for 15th place. Saskia Mull does take 16th. We head back up to the front of the grid. Houseman is already there. Nearly going into pit lane is D765 Broughton, unable to take control on the formation lap for what was looking to be a very good race. Has went downhill already for the Williams driver. Grid is reforming. Hopefully we can get a bit of a better camera angle than this into turn 1. If not, I will jump on board with a Ferrari, as we have a very far back Aston Martin of presumably Sass there. I have no idea what she is doing. Does get disqualified on the formation lap. We'll have to jump on board. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5 red lights are on, and it's lights out and away we go. Very short hold. Not been a great launch there for Ferrari. Gonna have to get up to it in a second bit. Broughton somehow kept the lead, but it's also been a bad launch for D7. Will keep second place. The Red Bulls having to swap positions just temporarily, but move back into position. Harrison M does stay 5th. Looks to be a very clean start throughout the grid. Very ambitious move there for the Ferrari, locking up all 4 wheels, getting into a bit of contact with teammates. Only 42 making up the positions up into 5th place after starting 8th. Blood does lose out to both of them, down to 7th, as has Alexi down to 8th place. Position shuffling in the back as well, picks us up to 12th after a very good start. Both the Alpines falling down, as has Fennell. Looks to be a very clean first lap. Broughton setting the pace, a 1:10.238 for Williams. Our timing tower gets a little bit weird, however. Not too far behind, though, is going to be D7, possibly getting a bit of a slipstream on the overtake as well, all the way up the straight, though Williams is faster in a straight line. I don't think the Mercedes is going to have just enough to make through it. Yellow in sector 1 for a spun round Aston of Pixels. Broughton's going to hold the inside line. D7's going to be alongside, though. The Red Bull of Housen's going to be right there as well. Scarlett and the Ferrari is going to be challenging against Apex. The Haas was off the track in the background too. Down, Alexi having looked down the inside for 7th place against the Haas of Blah. Gonna have to go the long way around, but the middle sector of the circuit. McLaren does have a bit better cornering speed than that Haas. If anything, in qualifying was up to go for. However, the Haas is the inside line for the corner. Gap up the front is extending a little bit. Broughton, a 107.625. Scarlett on the overtake again, having looked into turn 1, putting a few wheels on the grass, has a look down the inside. DRC will be enabled this lap, won't be able to get it for this straight, but they will be able to get it after turn 3. But no, I am mistaken, they will be looking to be getting it down this straight. The detection zone is after the start-finish line. However, every single car in the top 9 is within a second of each other. Will be resulting in one large train all the way down. We'll jump down to 11th place as that Mercedes has a look against Psycho. Having him look down the inside into turn 4. Psycho in the hardcover tower will have to go the long way around. Bit of a wobble and exit though for Dorado. Psycho will be able to get that position back. Possible bits of contact between the two cars as well. Psycho backing up the pack just a little bit. Those hard compound tires doing nothing for his pace, but it will be doing a lot for longevity. And if he can keep these cars behind him, he'll be looking very good against this group for the end of the race. Having another look down the inside goes Dorado, but not able to make anything happen there. Houseman on the hards, a 107.532, but OJ English a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Another spin for Pixels in the background. Here comes Dorado, having a look down the inside, easily able to get past with DRS assistance. Also having a look, it's going to be the Alpine in just a few seconds. However, Psycho will be able to get back past on DRS more than likely. Up at the top of the field, Scotland and Apex are fighting again. We'll have a jump up to here. Scotland goes a long way around, but it will get the better exit speed. Up at the corner, does have the DRS as well. Apex having to fall in just behind. Things quiet down up at the front, but just a little bit further, things are getting very, very feisty in the background. Finnell having a look anyway past on Dorado that he can. Psychos fell down to 13th place and is dropping quickly. The hardcom is doing nothing for him. Jump back up the way just a little bit, see if any DRS overtakes happen into turn 1. Nobody looks to be gaining on anyone just yet. Psycho a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Broughton loses the lead into the corner. D7 will take the lead. However, Ben or Houseman in the Red Bull is going to be right there as well. Broughton does have the higher top speed. Will have the DRS assistance into the corner. Has a look to the inside. Will be going for it. Bit of wheel-to-wheel contact between the two. Broughton gets the better exit, heading towards turn 6. Will have the outside line to go, and the worst wings will not help many. He does have to slow down Ben, though, coming back to that racing line. He will have the advantage for the rest of the circuit, bar 2 upcoming corners. Not at a very good time trying to make that corner, though. Might potentially have a little bit of wing damage as well as the reduced downforce already, but he will have a lot of top speed on the Mercedes heading down these straights. DRS wide open, heading to the right hand side, the inside line for the next couple of corners. DRS making that pass very easy. Ben's also going to be having a look down the inside of the Mercedes. Will get it done, but there's going to be contact between them. That's going to lose them both out to Scarlet and Apex. Apparently, I'm getting word from Aston Martin that the tyre wear rate on Pixels is double that of his teammate. Which is an interesting bug nonetheless. Blah has managed to get up into 5th place ahead of D7. That battle for the lead has fallen apart for D7 and Houseman. However, Scarlet and Apex are the next 2 contenders against that rocket ship of William Harriston into pit lane on lap 7 of the race. A very early stop, possibly hoping for a safety car a little bit later on. Things momentarily quiet down a little bit back here. We'll take a look at the previous winners on this circuit. The most recent in the 2023 Summer Series was Amber, but going back to Season 5, a driver that's not currently with us of Estrogen Impulse, the Red Bulls swapping positions into Turn 4, trying to make the most of their tyres, hunting down the cars ahead. 2022 Summer Series was won by current race leader JL Broughton. But back in Season 4, another driver who's no longer on the grid of Miwei DX048. Ashman a 107.390 on the hard compound tyres. he's able to keep this pace up without wearing his tires down too much, he could also be looking at a very good strategy similar to Psycho, just on the other end of the grid. However, driving hard on these tires will be wearing them out just as hard as driving at a normal pace on a softer compound. Regardless, so it'll be very interesting to see these strategies unfold through the rest of this race. We are only 8 laps in. There is 36 to go. Well, not the 36 in total, sorry. Not 36 to go. A caution in Sector 2. That's going to be an Alpine's been spun around of Sam Baker. Thankfully not going to be causing any issues for anyone a bit further back. Top 5 have sort of separated to their own group. Or top 6 even, as the 2 Red Bull dots blend into each other. 7th and 8th. Having their own little group, 9th on their own, and 10th back scattered as well. Caution in Sector 2 for the Aston Martin of Pixels once again. He's going to be very soon getting caught up by this top 6 group. Early 42 has moved up into 3rd place, might be having a look. Or moved down into even Housen's having a look going for the lead against Broughton. Not a great exit there for the Red Bull. Broughton getting a little bit better. Housen does it with the DRS though, and the inside line heading into turn 4. He will be on the better line, but he does have the worst tyres. Can Broughton hang it on the full long way round? Somehow he is still going to be there, but doesn't have a great launch compared to the Red Bull. Will even be losing the inside line. Won't have enough to go for it. Has to settle for 2nd place coming through turn 6 and 7. DRS assistance not able to be of much use for Broughton. D7, a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Here comes Broughton now, that much higher top speed than Williams. A rocket ship moves to the inside, nearly a bit of contact there between the 2 leaders. Ashton will have to settle for the worst line. He will get the DRS though on this 2nd section of the straight to potentially come back at Broughton. He will have to settle for the outside line this time. The hard comfort tyres combined with that might be just a little bit too much to ask for the Red Bull driver. Heading on board though, he somehow drives around the outside. It doesn't matter which way he has to go, he will find a way through. Once again, he will be the better clean air throughout the middle section of the circuit, but it could come right back through the 1st sector once again. The Williams is much better in a straight line. And barring the final 2 corners, it is now advantage Williams. In Sector 3, Houseman a penalty for multiple warnings. The Aston Martin of Pixels is just ahead. Thankfully, the ghosting taking place. A little bit of weaving there for Houseman, trying to break the slipstream just a little bit. It's not going to matter though. Broughton is going to be right there. A little bit late in the brakes though, does mess up the corner a little bit. Houseman will get a bit of an advantage from that, but the gap is closing once again. Pixels 3 seconds for multiple warnings. Broughton heading to the inside again through turn number 3. Will be ahead of the DRS zone, but Scarlett's also going to be there against Houseman. Little bit of a wheel spin there for the Ferrari driver. Will lose a lot of time, and also will have Apex right there in 4th place. Houseman's going to go again to the inside line through turn 4. A little bit of a wobble coming through turn 8, it looked like, for the Williams. Gonna have to be careful coming down these few corners as well as down the straight. That Ferrari of Scarlett is going to be right behind, however. Equally having to look in the mirrors is going to be Houseman, for once again it's going to be a huge advantage down the straight for Broughton. Flip of the rear wing, a little bit better of a launch, but having a look back, that Williams is no match in terms of speed. Having another look down the inside, looks to stay behind at the DRS detection line this time. Might be able to get the DRS down the 2nd second, but they come together. Into the wall goes Broughton. Scarlett's going to go into head. Broughton not able to keep the car going in a straight line. Somehow gets it back, stays 4th place, might even lose down to 5th. But the Red Bulls need to settle again. Contact going for the lead for Houseman will cause him to go down to 3rd. Broughton falling all the way down to 6th place now behind the Mercedes of T7. Sass a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, as is Alexei. Going to be DRS for both the Red Bulls, this time by on a Ferrari. Not going to be enough to catch though. Apex having a very ambitious look down the inside though. Somehow gets it alongside, but Scarlett will have the better exit traction. Houseman may have been a little bit held up by his teammate there coming around the corner. They're going to be swapping around again. Houseman taking the lead position for the Red Bulls. Team orders coming into effect. Psycho a 3-second penalty. Very close there between the two cars, but a little bit of a wheel spin. Too much throttle coming off the corner does cause him to get out of it. Look from the back of the Ferrari, that Red Bull getting ever so closer through the corners. We'll also be able to take advantage of the slipstream and the DRS throughout the next few corners, but all Scarlett has to do at this point is not get a penalty and she will be comfortably leading this race as long as she doesn't lose out to the second Red Bull. Bit of a wobble though on the exit through turn number 1. Houseman will get a much better launch as well as we'll have the DRS. Easily getting by Harrison M. A new fast lap in the medium with a 107.291. Houseman nearly a bit of contact again going for the lead. Thinks better of it, backs out. Opts to take the second DRS zone heading towards turn number 4. Broughton has fought back up to 4th place. Apex fell down to 5th and Blah up to 3rd. Apex now down to 6th place. The tyres on that Red Bull might be falling just a little bit, possibly a small bit of damage as well. Especially we'll be approaching the pit window very, very soon for all these drivers. Scarlett have to be looking in the mirrors once again. Houseman is going to be coming, and very quickly at that. 0.2 of a second separate them at the corner. DRS going to be wide open for the Red Bull. We'll jump on board and have a look from the rear wing of the Ferrari. That Red Bull is getting ever so closer, but does back out of it into the corner, staying behind. That Williams is going for moving out for 3rd place. Broughton does muscle his way back, but Blah might have the better exit speed. A very poor exit there for Houseman off the corner. That's him all a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Broughton going again down the inside through turn 4 against the Haas. Making it past this time. D7 another 30-second time penalty. Yellows in sector 3 for a spun Aston Martin. As the first round of pit stops are here, it's going to be E7 and Apex in. Take a look at the tyre graphics, see what they're going for. It's a new hards for both of them. Psycho, another 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Houseman going for the lead. This time makes it happen in the DRS, up to 1st place past Scarlett. As Salmon's retired from the session. Although I'm pretty sure that is a retirement on track. If I'm not mistaken, I'll go and take a jump down and see. I can't see what that car is, so there's not going to be any safety car. After getting past the Ferrari, Houseman's already put nearly a second on Scarlett. However, Scarlett is diving for pit lane. Within the lines, also going for pits, is going to be brought in behind. Blas stays out along with Houseman. Also coming in the background is going to be Alexi and Curly. And things die down just a little bit as the pit stops start. While we have this short interlude, I will take the opportunity as I mentioned that Austria is the only track that has been on every calendar in FVC, FVC2 and FVGP. And as we can see from this race so far, it is very obvious to see why. As there's already a battle coming out of pit lane. Off the track goes D765. OJ, a 3-second penalty. Is going to be a battle now for 5th place out of the pits between Apex, Broughton and D7. Finnell, a 106.838. There's a new fast lap of the race on hardcome tires. Here comes the Mercedes down the inside, having a look against Apex. Bit of contact between the two cars. Apex having to fall down to 7th place. Houseman stays out another lap. A spun Ferrari just up ahead of, I'm going to be presuming, that is Harrison M. From 3rd place, that car is not moving either. And resets to track a little bit in front of that group after falling down to 8th place. Moving back up, the Haas of Blah is in the pit lane, does get moving, however it's going to lose out those positions to this group. See it coming out of the pit lane, a big gap there to the cars behind. Into pit lane goes Harrison M, falling even further out of its position. This group as well, 1.7 seconds behind Scarlett in 2nd place. Jump up and see as Houseman stays out another lap. Hard compounds for Scarlett as well. Yellow flags out for the slow-moving Aston Martin of presumably Pixels. Not been a very pleasant race for him so far, heading into pit lane. D7, another 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. The second driver up to 9 seconds, just behind Psycho. That gap at the top as well is coming down quite significantly. At this rate, I'm pretty sure Houseman's going to be losing the lead once he heads in for his stop. However, he will have the better tires at the end of the race. We'll jump now down to 7th place. The closest battle on track, OJ, another 3-second time penalty, also up to 9 seconds, as Alexi takes back 7th place. Is carrying that 3-second penalty, though. She will need to get a big gap to Curly behind if she wants to keep that 7th place. As into pit lane comes Houseman. Will jump on board now. The Ferrari of Scarlett, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to get by Houseman, so we'll instead we'll head to this group in 3rd currently. That Red Bull is moving, has got a little bit of a track down pit lane now. You'll be able to hear the engine of the Ferrari come past. D7, a 106.596. Broughton will easily get past, as is D7. We'll jump on board with Houseman as he comes out of pit lane behind this group entirely. Blah, a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Blah will have to settle for 6th place, and Houseman is over a second behind his teammate. Psycho, a 5-second for speeding in pit lane as he comes in. Harrison M, a 106.581, a new fast lap of the race on the hards once again. 20 laps in. Out of 36. The stage in the race, still anything could happen. Scarly 42 does lead, Broughton in 2nd and D7 in 3rd. However, the lead has changed numerous times. Unsurprisingly though, Houseman has caught up within the DRS window to his teammate. And the Red Bulls swapping positions just behind a purple first sector for Houseman on the medium compound tyres. We've seen how long the tyres can go here just because of the shorter lap distance. So depending on this strategy, as well as what may happen in the rest of the race, it is currently looking advantage Red Bull. He can keep those tyres going until the end. He will be in a very good position for a safety car. Either full or virtual could change things entirely for every single driver on the track. Purple middle sector for Houseman. We'll be getting just a little bit held up though behind the Mercedes of D7. As a look, 106.219. DRS wide open, but still can't make anything happen. Might be just getting a little bit late in the brakes, runs into the back of the Mercedes ahead. Thankfully no wing damage. D7 does come over just a little bit, try and defend the position, but doesn't have anything to respond with. We'll have a look down the inside though. Houseman having to go the long way around against Broughton through turn 3. Somehow finds a gap and makes it work. There is only one car now between him and first place. However, he is still carrying that 3-second penalty and has to find another 1.5 seconds on top of that. But at the current pace he's going, he's already found 3/10 of it. Pixels a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, somehow only a second to say another purple middle sector for Houseman. This time he's not going to be blocked into the final 2 corners. The lap time could very well come down into the 5s now at this stage of the race for Houseman. And now he also has the Ferrari in his sights. Come over the line, not only fastest lap, however will have the DRS as well as the tyre advantage. Misses the first corner though, brakes far too late. Overconfidence on the showers does play into it. Is a purple, not a purple, a yellow in the middle sector for a slow-moving Ferrari. Houseman getting a bit of trouble. That's again very late on the brakes. Nearly running into the back of the Ferrari of Scarlett. However, a much better exit this time for him. That gap now is only 2.5 tenths as well as he has the DRS advantage. Scarlett not going to be moving with defending the inside line. Going to stay on the outside, and Houseman will be moving back into the lead. Scarlett will try to stay there, but a big contact again. Scarlett dropping ever slightly on the curb, wheel-to-wheel contact. Thankfully nothing of it between the 2 cars. Scarlett just has to stay within 3 seconds now to keep the lead, but that Red Bull is flying ahead already 0.6 of a second, 0.7 of a second even. The DRS will keep some advantage for Scarlett. That gap went from 7 tenths down to 3. It's back up to 6 now, but again, there's another 2 DRS zones, 4 to gain with. 3.5 tenths down to 4. She is still losing ground, but it is at a delayed rate. Jump to the background of Apex, trying to find any way past the Mercedes of D7. After the pit stops, things are quieting down just a little bit. We'll keep an eye on those gaps up at the top though. Fennell having a look against Harrison M for 9th place, the closest 2 cars on track. Keep an eye on the interval between 4th and 5th. As of course we jump to it, that battle gets close and this one gets a bit further apart. Apex making an easy DRS move on D7, but that roll will be reversed heading towards turn number 4. This is a pretty bad launch out of the corner for D7. Not going to be very helpful. Low on the battery and late on the accelerator. Half a second is just too much for him to catch. Apologies if you hear any background noise. This is trying to make me lose my voice just a little bit. Pixels, another 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. And Scarlett, her first penalty of the race, is going to be detrimental for her and her finishing efforts. She now has to go from staying within 3 seconds of the Red Bull head to having to get ahead and then build 3 seconds of the cars behind if she wants to keep her current position. If it finishes now, she would be down in 5th place. Big out of oversteer there, though, for Apex. Far too aggressive on the throttle. It wasn't a very good to either for D7, but that DRS assistance will able to get him up into 4th place for the time being. Aston Martin ahead of Pixels, sideways on the road. Thankfully, the cars lap down and over are ghosted. No issues going to be caused there for our leading pack. That glitch for Pixels being detrimental to his efforts. Again, if you weren't here earlier, apparently Pixels has a glitch where his tires are wearing at double the rate of any other. Apex is slowly catching his way back up to D7. DRS assistance is going to be very helpful. However, that Mercedes is trying everything it can, braking slipstream and using the battery. Apex does stay behind, going to get the DRS for the next straight, and it's missed the corner. D7 is off the track and not going to have a very good exit. It's going to be a very easy pass for Apex. Moving up the field just a little bit, the battle for 2nd place now taking as well. Scarly 42 already 3 seconds outside of Houseman, and Broughton is catching her. Both these two cars are much more suited to the high-speed aspect of this track. However, the Williams will have the DRS distance all the way down the straight. We'll see what's half second coming onto the straight. It is about 3.5 tenths moving through the corner. Scott will get a bit of a better run through the corner. That got it back up to about half a second. But the Williams will be gaining once again, and it will do it another time, heading towards turn 4. D7 gets back past Apex, heading up the corner, a DRS pass, another yellow in sector 3 for the Aston Martins. I think both of them this time spun round. Come back just a little bit again, on board with Apex, and be having a look down the inside into turn 4, trying to get anyway, locks up the left front tyre a little bit, Psycho and off-freeze penalty for multiple warnings. Apex with the DRS will be able to make another very easy move, having a look behind to stay in the DRS for the next zone. Dorado with 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Apex trying to remain smart with the decisions. A bit of a weave there, though. Heading towards the corner will cause him to stay in 5th place. Pixels another 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Lap 30 of the Grand Prix. Very little time remaining in this race, but it is still at the point where a safety car could change everything. However, it is entirely dependent on if we get one. There's been one retirement so far that did not cause a safety car. Apex staying behind at the DRS zone once again. A little bit harsh on the brakes. Has to jump on them a second time. And gets a very poor exit out of the corner. Finland 334, multiple warnings. A caution just ahead for both the Aston Martins again, I think. Apex having another look on the inside, this time a lot more aggressive. Possibly a little bit of contact between the two cars. D7 does stay ahead, just a little bit, however, will fall behind for the next few corners. He did have the inside line, but he was too far back to take advantage of it. Aston Martins are just ahead of this duo. We'll jump up now for the battle for second, which is still raging on just a little bit. Broughton trying to find any way past that he can. This time by, he might get one. That car is going a lot quicker up the straight, however, will not be able to be close enough. And back behind, that gap for fourth place is starting to spread just a little bit as well. Keep an eye on that interval, however, up at the top it is still very close between the Ferrari and the Williams. Of course, all Broughton needs to do is finish within 3 seconds of Scarlett if he wants to take second place. However, the on-track battle between all these drivers is another point entirely. They all want to be able to get it on track for bragging rights. Of course, after penalties is where the points come in and is ultimately more important for the championships. Pixels, a 10-second penalty for exceeding track limits, up to 22 seconds. Robin's going to be having a look down the inside against Scarlett, moving up into turn 3. Somehow does have the inside line. Scarlett will turn into it a little bit too early. Has to stay on the outside line. She will get the better run, and I think she might have. Indeed, she does have the DRS. You see the wing wide open. Broughton will have the better line into the corner there, but he has to make the breaks to get it. A little bit of a lockup from Scarlett on the front right. Scarlett will have the ability to drive on the outside and take back the position on track. Time is slowly running out of this Grand Prix, and the closer to the end they get, the more comfortable Houseman will be getting. D7, another 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, up to 12 seconds now for him. Someone that's going to be gaining a lot of positions from these penalties is going to be Curly, by the looks of it. Things keep going the way they do. It's entirely possible he gets a couple of positions. However, again, going for the move is going to be Broughton on the inside, heading into turn 4. And a big bout of oversteer there for Scarlett on the throttle. Far too early. Gets it all back together though. Has to settle behind the Williams of Broughton ahead. Will have the DRS advantage down for the start-finish straight. I also have the advantage of downforce. We are in the final 3 laps of the race. I think there can be no more safety cars from this point onwards. Houseman can now breathe a sigh of relief up ahead, however he still has to make the finish line himself. Bit of contact there between Scarlett and Broughton. Oversteer as well for the Ferrari driver coming off the corner. She will be taking a look to the left-hand side of the track though. Under DRS will be able to make it work. Broughton will get the DRS for the next section, but does have a very poor corner. Get very close, but Oversteer and possibly from a bit of contact will push him half a second back. that gap does open up just a little bit for the time being. Jump down to this battle for 9th place. Austrian is currently in favour, not carrying a penalty, but again, the on-track battle between all these drivers is another one. Very, very, very feisty between all of them. Four-corner exit though for the Ferrari driver, that'll allow Fennell to get a half-second ahead of him. Jump back up to the battle for 4th place. Here comes D7, have it down the inside, very high speed, backs out of it though. Instead opts for the slipstream and DRS into turn 3. Another penalty for Sass. We've seen flash at the top of the screen, for 12 seconds now for her. Here comes D7. And he will also be getting... No, he will not be getting the DRS down the second section of the straight. Apex breaks a little bit later into the corner. Instead, will have the rear wing open for himself, heading towards turn 4. Up the final lap of the race. Houseman has only got 10 corners remaining, 9 corners even remaining in this Grand Prix. Battling in the background, it's going to be D7 and Apex once again going to be going for it. Judging by it this time, I think it's going to be D7 of the wing open. However, you get a worse exit off the corner. Apex to get the better run. D7, later stage of the straight, will be able to get a better look around the outside, trying to make anything work. Will have the higher grip. Maybe been a little bit off track, however, will have to settle for the lower position. He will be on the inside line though, has to back out of it. These two not letting up on each other for any stage of this Grand Prix. Houseman will come across the line and win, taking a 8-second gap. Scarlet 42 will get it on track for the two behind, but Broughton will get it on penalties. And also coming around in the background, Apex will get it on track between these two, and D7 has to settle for 6th place. 5th on track, but once again the penalties coming into effect. Coming around for 7th place, where she started, is going to be Alexei. A very monumental battle up at the top of the field does end in a 5.5-second win for Houseman. 8th place goes to Curly in the next car up on track, although in a battle of its own is going to be Houseman. For 9th place, Finnell will have to settle for 10th, carrying that 3-second penalty as well. Next up to cross the line will be Dorado and English in 12th place. Then with a 17 seconds of penalties comes Psycho. Sass finishes a lap down in 14th and in 15th place. Suffering entirely of the way through, it's going to be Pixels. But that is all there is for round 6, barring any post-race penalties, of course. A tough-fought victory for the Red Bull of Houseman, but 2nd and 3rd place between Broughton and Scarlett. Another very monumental battle. The entirety of the top 6 are all very deserving of their positions. But there can only be one winner in any Grand Prix. Houseman 212E takes the win at the Austrian Grand Prix. "36 laps later, and here are the race results. From third place on the grid, taking the win and the fastest lap, the full complement of points is going to be Houseman 212E. Down in second, having to settle for it, is going to be JL Broughton after taking pole position by a very small margin. Scarlet 42 is in third place, and down in fourth, the second Red Bull of Apex. Flyappa in fifth for Haas, sixth goes to D7, and seventh to FE Alexi. 8th place goes to Corley 7, 9th to Harris M, and 10th for IX Finnell. 11th place goes to Dorado, 12th to OJ English, 13th for Psycho, 14th for Saskia Wolf, 15th for FE Pixels, and 16th, the only retirement in the race, of Simon Baker for the 67.